We are on a boat. We are heading out to the Chesapeake Bay, over to the Key Bridge, or what's left of the Key Bridge. If you remember, it was a little over a year ago when a big cargo ship hit the bridge, collapsed the bridge. We're gonna go check it out from the water, get a view and see what's happening there, right here on the RV Noobs channel. Come along for the ride, let's go. All right, welcome to the RV Noobs channel. We are out here on the beautiful Chesapeake Bay, where surprisingly it's a pretty darn calm day. It's hot. We had a big storm yesterday, massive, nasty storm. But today, awfully calm out here because this is normally, because of the wind, because of a lot of traffic, huge ships and all that, usually it's quite choppy out here. But today, not too bad. But if you could look right over my shoulder, you can see what used to be the Key Bridge. And I'm going to switch the camera around so you can see it while I'm kind of talking about it. That's the Key Bridge and what's left of it. So that's one span of it. So the bridge went all the way across. And then there is the other span. I'm going to get to the story of what happened there, but you can see kind of right behind it, right behind this span of the bridge, you can see the Port of Baltimore, one of the busiest ports in the entire country. In fact, I think it's the busiest importer of vehicles in the entire country, but it's one of the busiest ports in the whole country. And so that's where the ship, the cargo ship, originated from. But that's the port. And then if you look kind of way in the back here, that is the city of Baltimore. And the Patapsco River, that's the Patapsco River. And then basically from here out, I don't know if I have it exact, but that's where the Chesapeake Bay starts, right around where this bridge used to be, I should say. And then you can't really see it, but really straight ahead is Fort McHenry. And for all you history buffs, Fort McHenry, of course, is where during the War of 1812, you're going to have to check my facts on this, but during the War of 1812, the Battle of Baltimore, that's where that took place, a turning point in the war. It's been 40 plus years since I took a history class, but that's where the Battle of Baltimore was. And right about where we are right now, at this exact spot, right here on the Chesapeake Bay, is right about where Francis Scott Key was when he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. It's kind of surreal to think some 200 years ago, right about this exact spot, Francis Scott Key was. And I think, again, the history buffs might have to correct me, but I believe he was on a British Navy vessel, and it was like an observer sort of vessel to watch this battle take place down there at Fort McHenry when the British were attacking the Americans, and it was a pivotal battle to the war. And when he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner, he's viewing the entire battle take place right over there. And if you think about the words to the Star-Spangled Banner, the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, and then, of course, the big line, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. And that's where the flag was, right in Fort McHenry. And that's why this bridge was called the Key Bridge. It was the Francis Scott Key Bridge. A little history there. I might have missed a few facts, but we know that he was right about here watching the battle when he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. Now, the Key Bridge. The story there is that the cargo ship, the Dali, was over there at the Port of Baltimore. And he was heading out. It was like on a Monday night, like 1:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and he heads down and he turns around, and his whole plan is to come under the bridge and then out the shipping channel, out into the Chesapeake Bay, and then of course out into the Atlantic Ocean. And he was headed for Sri Lanka. Crazy, right? I don't even understand how that works. How do boats go? How do they get that full and go all the way to Sri Lanka from here, which is kind of crazy. But you know, I'm not super smart on history, and I'm not super smart on physics either. This is one of those massive cargo ships that is on its way into the port of Baltimore. It's about roughly the same size as the Dali, the one that hit the Key Bridge and collapsed it like that. You can just see how massive they are. Back when that Key Bridge was built, it was built to withstand a collision with something like 1/3 the size of this, because that's what the biggest ships were at that time. But nowadays, they're this big. They can fit like 5,000 of those shipping containers just on one ship. I don't know how they float. I don't know how they navigate all the way to the other side of the world, but that thing's massive. 5,000 shipping containers. Think about that. That's like 5,000 trucks, 18-wheelers that they can stack on those things. So you can see why that bridge came down as quickly as it did. So the boat comes out of there, loses power, regains power, loses power again, and the pilot of the ship calls out a mayday. And immediately the mayday is the communication somehow got to the Maryland State Police, and they had a police officer positioned on that end of the bridge and also on that end of the bridge for this exact scenario, in case anything goes wrong. And they immediately blocked traffic, or else this tragedy could have been even worse. But they did. They got traffic stopped on one end and traffic stopped on the other end. The reason they were placed there in the middle of the night is because there was road construction happening on top of the bridge. But as soon as they got the signals, literally like within 20 seconds, they stopped traffic and started communicating to the people on the bridge to get off the bridge. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time. The Dali, that was the name of the ship, hits the bridge, immediate collapse that bridge goes down. And unfortunately, there were 6 road construction workers who lost their lives. It could have been much worse if not for the quick action of those police officers to stop traffic from getting on the bridge. Now it was 1:30 in the morning, but it was still, they would have had cars on that bridge had they not stopped it. As you see, again, you see one of the spans over here because the entire middle is missing. It took a few weeks to get all of the debris off of the ship, out of the water, and now they're going to be in the process of rebuilding. The plan, from what I understand, is by the beginning of July 7th, which is the weekend or the Monday after the holiday, that's when they're supposed to take the rest of the spans down and then start the entire rebuild. They say, and we'll see, that it should be ready for vehicle traffic by 2028, the summer of 2028. That's 3 years, and they're going to rebuild that entire thing. So that is the Key Bridge and the update of what's going on. It is kind of surreal, again, to see the span just there and then nothing. And then nothing all the way across. There is that one, don't know the exact term, but used to be part of the bridge. And then you go all the way, and then there's the other span. And that Key Bridge was key to commuter traffic around Baltimore. And it used to bring traffic, it was I-695, and it used to bring traffic away from Baltimore, because there's only 2 ways to get through past Baltimore without going downtown, and that was 2 tunnels. So now all the traffic that was going on 695 is now all going to the tunnel, which makes the tunnel a lot of traffic. And hey, that sort of ties into our RV story because that's the commute that I used to take, is that bridge. Now that the bridge is not there, I have to go downtown. Makes the commute a lot worse. Maybe it sped up the retirement a little bit. The plan was all along to retire early, but losing that bridge and making the commute that much more difficult definitely solidified the plans that we're going to retire early, get into the RV life, and that's why we're here doing this RV. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, consider giving it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this, out in the water, out in the RV, all of that fun. Thanks for checking in with us. We appreciate everybody who has, and we hope to see you all on down the road sometime. All right, let's head on home. Old rustic train bridge. Still in use. Still have to come in, turn this, close it so a train can cross, open it right back up for boats.